Good morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Edward Shaw. We're going to go in and do a. Wait. Good morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Edward Shaw. We're going to go ahead and do another live update for you this morning as we start to see a little bit more in terms of snowfall throughout the region, especially in parts of the New River Valley up into Roanoke. That's going to be where we really start to see snowfall increase here over the next few hours. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at what we're tracking right now. And you can see some of those heavier bands of snowfall, those dark areas on this map, all the way down to parts of Blacksburg, Christiansburg, even up into Roanoke along that section of I-81. We've really seen it come down here within the last few hours, and it's going to continue to be like that here for the rest of the morning. One thing I am noticing, though, on this map, if we go further to our south, you're noticing there's a little bit of a dry slot down there and a little bit of a wintry mix in parts of the south side area. That's a little bit of a precursor of the extent of that cold air wedge within that area. Now, what we're going to see there is a little bit more in terms of mixing, just given the fact that those warmer than average temperatures in some of those areas are going to end up influencing what kind of precipitation we really see. So while further to the north, you have a lot of cold air locked in place. Down there, you're going to see a little bit more drier air, maybe a little bit of a wintry mix in some of that area that has moisture. Let's take a look at what we're expecting for the next few hours here as we take a look at our Futurecast. So going over the next few hours, by 8 a.m., you can see about where we are right now. It's pretty lined up with where we are on the Futurecast. But over the next few hours, you're going to notice that we see a little bit more of a shift over into parts of Christiansburg, Roanoke, and further to the north where snow gets heavier. Again, I don't think we've seen the heaviest snow that we're going to see yet. I think that's coming later in the day. And you can see that with some of those bluer areas on our map, specifically going west of I-77 and up the I-81 corridor here over the next few hours. That's going to be something we definitely got to monitor. As we get later on into the day, though, this is where stuff gets especially dicey. You see that area where snow starts transitioning over to a little bit of a mix south of Roanoke and Christiansburg, maybe even getting up into the Lynchburg areas. And that's going to be another cause for concern. It's going to be because of ice. Likely going to see quite a few travel issues and maybe even some power outages, particularly in the New River Valley, as I think we could get a pretty good amount of ice down there. As we go into tomorrow morning, we'll get cloudy for a little bit, but we're still going to see ice on and off throughout the course of the morning, and that continues throughout the day tomorrow. So that's why we've issued that alert day for tomorrow as well as today. Now, one of the big questions, obviously, how much snowfall are we going to end up seeing? And it's going to depend on where you are, obviously. South side, I'm thinking anywhere from a coating to possibly up to 2 inches in some of those northern parts of that white on that map. Blacksburg, Roanoke, Pulaski, Lynchburg, all areas that could easily see between 2 and 6 inches, whereas the Highlands region definitely getting up to the 6 to 10 inch range. And you can see throughout the area where that transition from blue to purple and then white to purple, where those are going to be the areas where we see, I guess the way to put it would be, if we're starting to see a little bit of a transition between rain to freezing rain, that's going to be more of that white to blue, and then blue to purple, that's going to be the primary areas we start seeing a little bit more snow transition from freezing rain into snowfall. Obviously, more snow you end up with, less ice you're going to end up with. Now, as for what we're tracking here later today with freezing rain, this is a massive concern for me, and this is the big thing that worries me, and part of the reason why I personally think that we get into tomorrow, it's going to be more hazardous than what we're seeing today. And it's going to be because right there on that area on I-81, where we're going to start to see conditions rapidly deteriorate, Blacksburg, Roanoke, Floyd, Rocky Mount, all within those areas. So that's going to be something you want to monitor. As for impacts, pretty icy conditions throughout the region, as well as that significant snowfall. All that's going to lead to a high risk of flooding long-term, combined with the fact that this weekend, we're going to end up seeing quite a bit of rainfall within our area. And power outages, obviously, anytime you have excessive ice, you're going to have that risk for power outages as well. So definitely, you're going to want to be safe, be careful. Just overall, if you can stay off the roads at all necessarily, definitely do so, as it's just going to be a mess throughout the course of the day. Already seeing several coatings throughout the area, Martinsville, Wytheville, the Virginia Tech Corporate Research Center area, and Blacksburg. And it's going to continue like this throughout the course of the day today. Temperatures today, going to stick within the 30-degree range, maybe a few areas getting into the 20s, but just going to be consistently cold throughout the area. And the fact that some of these high temperatures are hovering just above freezing, that's part of the reason that I'm primarily concerned about ice as we start seeing a little bit of a shift from snow to ice later on in the day. As for what we can track later on in the week, well, again, the one day that I think we're going to see a little bit of a break, and this is a little bit of good news if there is any with this system, it's going to be Valentine's Day. I think it's going to be pretty dry. That's going to be the next real break we end up having. As you can see, 33 today, 35 tomorrow, overnight lows below freezing tonight. Then Valentine's Day, 43 degrees, partly cloudy skies. And then during the weekend, we're going to start seeing conditions get a little bit more dicey with quite a bit of rainfall,